Hello and welcome to IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live and interactive news conversation web TV. I'm Prachi Jatanya. It's interesting to see the scorching summer heat, especially in North India, is making a lot of people, including travel enthusiasts, get into their cars and zip away to weekend getaways. The last 2 weekends we've seen hordes of travel enthusiasts and lots of families actually getting up to the hills to make sure that they can beat the heat and try and get some relaxation and better climate, of course, in the hills. To take us through what could be your possible choices in the coming weekend as a getaway from Delhi's scorching heat, we have some interesting travel bloggers and people who run travel companies here in the studio at the conversation. We have Mr. Mohit Hajela, who is the founder and director of Sheriff's Drive. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. And we also have another Mohit, Mr. Mohit Poddar, who is a travel blogger for Shoes on Loose. We'll also have some interesting voices coming in on Google Hangout and Skype. Do put in your questions and your comments. What do you think are the perfect weekend getaways to beat the Delhi heat? And write into us. And you can also contact our bloggers and travel enthusiasts in the studio at the rate India Post Live on Twitter to take forward this discussion. I'll come to you, Mr. Hajela. What is Sheriff's Drive all about, and what would you recommend as the 3 top weekend getaways to beat this really sweltering heat we have facing?
Sheriff's Drive is a travel advisory and facilitation arm, and we are focusing on integrating offbeat premium and luxury destinations with recommended driving circuits, both within India and out of India.
Right.
And primarily, I mean, if you look at it, it's all about how you create experience, because in this country and anywhere in the world, experiences matter. So I think these are all about experience-led drives. And when we talk of Delhi and I mean, some of the closest hill destination, I mean, when it comes to beating the summer or beating the heat, I think it's all about any closest hill station is about 250 to 300 kilometers away,
Right.
which is usually a driving distance of about 6 to 7 hours ideally. And I mean, people definitely, I mean, if you look close, it is Himachal, which is absolutely up and happening right now. Uttaranchal, again, certain segments of Uttaranchal is pulling off very well.
Right.
And similarly, I mean, if you look at a few other destinations, they are more as weekenders, small or getaways,
Yes.
which again can be looked at in the vicinity of good about 200 to 250
Yes.
kilometers away. But that's the minimum threshold
Right.
of driving from
Right.
Delhi. Yeah.
Right. I'll also come to you, Mr. Poddar. What are the the best places you'd recommend within this 200 to 300 kilometers, where people can just pack their clothes in a rucksack or a backpack and take off if they just have Saturday, Sunday off? What would you recommend as the top 3 places close to Delhi?
Again, I completely agree with what Mohit said. And there are not many places close to, you can just get to the foothills on the weekend. But
Right.
again, if you're ready to rough it out a little bit, as you say, like in 3 days, I would recommend in Uttarakhand, there are a lot of places which have been completely undiscovered, like Chakrata, as sir might be knowing. And there you have option of like caving, and you can go into the caves. And in the summer, the caves there are such that in the summers they have cold water flowing in, and in the winters the water automatically becomes hot.
Oh, great.
So it's a very good destination for both summer and winters. And inside the cave, you are away from the heat and the scorching sun, and it's a life there exists on itself. Like,
And it's very relaxing and
yeah,
quiet.
it's difficult to get in, but
Right.
the
No
entrance
phone
is
coverage.
no phone. In the mountains, you'll hardly find places where there is phone network, and I think that's good. When you're thinking about a weekend getaway, you don't want your office people to be calling you.
Maybe that's a little respite.
Yeah. You don't want your
People
internet and
relax.
WhatsApp to work, and I mean, it's
You
bad
just
for
enjoy the serenity of
yeah,
the
it's
place.
bad for the travel bloggers who want to tweet their pictures right then and there. But what we do is we come back from the trip, and then we show people as if it's happening live.
Right.
So that's a
So
workaround.
Chakrata, any other place, the Bias route at all in Himachal?
The Kasol and Himachal route is also very beautiful and very, very approachable, because you have a lot of good overnight Volvo buses going over there. And it's not very far. You take an evening Volvo and it comfortably reach over there. And the valley in itself has a lot of small villages like Kasol, Manikaran, Then there's Barshini, from where there are day treks possible. So you can unwind, see beautiful waterfalls. You are trekking along the river. So that totally takes your mind off from the Delhi heat. You can easily get there in 6-7 hours and be there for 2 days, come back and get back to your regular routine.
Right, and
life.
feel rejuvenated
Yeah.
as well.
I've had like guys going there with their father, just father and son going there, having a lovely get together. They came back, met me. They were so
happy
with the whole experience that they came back, met me, and we shared the experience. They gave me some pictures, which I've also shared with your team.
Right. Interesting. We'll play some graphics here on Kasol, the Bias route as well for our viewers, and we'll also get in a travel enthusiast joining us. You can see here Kasol, the route put up on a map and how to get there. As Mr. Podar is saying that it's a weekend getaway and you can actually also drive there.
Yeah.
Mr. Hajela would give us some pointers there. By road, it's about 9 hours if you do take a short tea or lunch break, right? And you could possibly even take the flight.
Yeah, ideally, I mean, people normally opt out. I mean, who are very, very constrained on time, that they normally fly down to Kullu, and then from there it's a wonderful drive. Yet, I mean, for people who are typically, who love to take the wheels, and they would love to drive this section on their own.
Right.
And as I shared, I think it's all about experience. I mean, the whole it's more to do about a journey than the destination.
So once you exit Delhi and the urban part of our cities, what is the kind of scenes that you get to see on this drive to Kasol?
I mean, it all starts. I mean, as you exit onto the OGT road. I mean, that's the first getaway from Delhi, and I think it's a wonderful drive. You across cities like Panipat and Kurukshetra and Ambala, and with all these flyovers coming in, I think it's a fabulous drive. And then as you take a detour, you move towards the Kullu side. I mean, moving from Anandpur Sahib and then typically crossing Bilaspur and going through these stretches. And once you approach the valley, I think it's you have to reach Kullu city to take a small detour that takes you to the Parvati Valley. I mean, as being put up, Kasol happens to be a part of Parvati Valley, which is a breathtaking valley. And I think the flow of Beas itself and
it's very soothing.
It's very soothing, very rejuvenating.
You drive along the river, so
You drive along the river. And I think that itself, I mean, the entire drive along the river and the fact that you can stop anywhere, there are small eateries around that you can have, typically many a time a Maggie and a good, hot
cup of
piping tea and coffee itself is, how you connect. I think it's more a matter that if you are looking out of getting out of Delhi, it's more that how you're holistically there.
Yes.
And
you're actually leaving all your baggage behind, your commitments, the stress of everyday life.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
please.
And I think that's what truly, I mean, if you're looking out, I mean, what we usually recommend to fellow travelers is that if you're out, just shun your mundane cares, because that's what matters,
Right. We'll also be able to see the Parvati Valley graphics here on your screens. Is there any kind of possibility? You can see the beautiful snow-capped local houses there. Probably, one could also have a homestay, if at all.
Yes. Homestays is very popular. In fact, now both for budget travelers and high spenders alike, Himachal has plenty to offer, and if you're staying at an offbeat destination, it also gives you that feeling of being, individually being taken care of.
Yes.
I think it's a small element of care, a feeling of, home away from home.
Right.
So I think it's
and you
all
get to
about
connect with the
experience.
locals,
And you
their
connect
kind
with
of
the local
life.
people,
And in fact, I was introduced to this place by a friend who gave me a number of a guy who basically runs a homestay there. And when I called him from Kullu and asked him about the whereabouts, he actually came down to Kullu to pick me up. That's the kind of hospitality you get over there.
Great.
That if you're new to that region and if they feel that you are uncomfortable, they'll go out of the way to help you.
Great.
Incidentally, I mean, Himachal around it, that the complete valley itself, I mean, you have got Tirthan, which again is breathtaking, views, and all across. I mean, whether as you move from North and you take a small detour from North, and you move towards a place called Banjar in Gusheni, all the way up to the Himalayan National Park. Now that Himalayan National Park itself is
Very
a trek of
unexplored,
it's very
right?
unexplored. I think it's more to do that how people break from the convention. I think that's more important.
Is there more awareness information now available for the Himalayan National Park? Are tourists freely allowed? Is there some kind of information?
I think it's very much on the radar. I think and most of the discerning travelers, take my word, they try and experiment newer places.
Right.
And the complete stretch, I mean, and further as you move to Shoja and up to Jalori Pass, that itself is a wonderful experience. And the experience of trout fishing, doing angling.
Oh, great.
I mean, there's
Those
plenty
are-
of. I mean, those are and typically the homestays. I mean, the bonhomie, the hospitality of the locals.
Yes.
Understanding and appreciating the local people, the apple orchards there.
Yeah.
I mean, people have literally
Invest-
taken up the complete hillside, you know.
Right.
And information has always been available. Like I went there 10 years back, and it was swarmed with foreigners. Like especially people
With
from
foreigners, right? We don't see a lot of local tourists exploring the Himalayan National Park at all.
Yeah, because the information is always there, but it's just that
It doesn't seem alluring or attractive.
alluring because the buzz is not there. Now with the social media coming in, there's a lot of buzz. Somebody goes to Kasol and puts up their pictures, so everybody is like, "What is this place? Let's
What's
go."
the USP of the national park? If you can just tell us in a few words of the Himalayan National Park, what's the USP? What's one
I-
thing that would be most striking for a traveler?
The rivers. The rivers around it. There's both Tosh River and Parvati River, and the confluence point of that river, it's a beautiful valley with rivers and waterfalls.
Right.
As you just showed the
The
picture of
picture.
Malana waterfall and this small hut over there.
Yes.
Those sort of views is the USP. It's
And
not
also the
really
treks.
that
I would say Himalayan National Park is
No.
all to be explored
on foot.
Right.
on foot.
Okay, we'll just get in Anshul and try and see. Anshul is a travel enthusiast and also a blogger. Thank you so much, Anshul, for joining us at the conversation on India Post Live. As a participant and somebody who travels extensively, what have been your experiences in the Parvati Valley and places close to Delhi as weekend getaways?
Right. Parvati Valley is really beautiful, and the best part of Parvati Valley is that when you walk towards when you visit Kasol and you walk towards the villages, there are small huts where you can stay if you have a sleeping bag and what you Maggie and things like that. So staying in a village environment is itself a very unique thing for a traveler. And other than that, if you are looking for weekend destinations, then my favorite place will be McLeodganj. There is this from McLeodganj, you can walk towards Nadi, and then there are homes of shepherds where you can stay in between of the valley near waterfalls with a sleeping bag and the same thing that you will be doing in Kasol. If you are in Kasol and you are around the Parvati Valley, there is you can there's this place you can trek upwards towards Tosh and then Malana.
Yeah.
Right, right. Also, do you feel that people are getting enough information thanks to bloggers like yourself and Mr. Podar also who try and highlight these relatively unexplored places? Because for somebody like me, I come from the western part of India and I haven't explored the hills as much, but I'm very keen to know more about places like Landor, you know, the home of Ruskin Bond, also places like Lansdowne, which probably may be a little bit of a longer drive, but these are relatively non-commercial getaways, but would they be ideal for a weekend, Anshul?
Lansdowne is really ideal for a weekend. I was supposed to be in Lansdowne at this time, but I got stuck in Delhi today.
Right.
And Lansdowne and Landor are like the places. They are very different, very clean, away from phone signals, and there are not many tourists. So if you want to go there and spend some time doing nothing, then
they're not
these
many
are the best places to visit.
And Lansdowne, were you able to do any research? Because I believe there's only an army base there,
Yeah.
no real budget hotels at all.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but then there are guest houses, I think.
Okay.
No, they do have hotels.
There are guest houses.
Yeah, and
Right.
Lansdowne again, as rightly put up by Anshul, I mean, it's been British cantonment. It is headquarters to Gadwal Rifles.
Yes.
And the beauty lies that I'm sure no one will disagree that if it's a hill station being maintained by the army, I'm sure
The hospitality
the
will be
hospitality, the place, the
Cleanliness.
the
Maintenance.
cleanliness, the maintenance is something fabulous, and it's about closing to about 250 kilometers from Delhi.
Okay.
So that again makes it quite interesting because by drive it's an ideal about 6 to 7 hours drive, and one can conveniently take a small weekend off and just try and cool heels in the hills.
Great.
And you can also basically take your own tent. So we also, with the same idea, we also started an equipment rental store
Great.
to facilitate travelers who want to try out backpacking but don't have the equipment. So as Anshul said, you can just take your sleeping bag. So we have travelers coming to us who take the tent, sleeping bags and mats and or we like camping chairs and venture out on their own. And we also help them with the past idea what we have, where you can camp, because you need to camp at a place where food and
Is
sanitation
available.
is
Yes,
taken care of.
yes, yes.
Because
Like a
you're heading for
mobile-
a mobile home you carry
Yes.
with yourself.
Right.
So I always carry it in my car. Even if I have a hotel reservation, I always prefer, I'm very comfortable if I have a tent and a sleeping bag in my car.
I would rather add that it's finally all about experience.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you are a budget traveler or you are a high spender, at the end of the day, experiences matter.
It should be a memorable one.
It's a memorable one, and I think most of under Shagir's drive, I mean, we are focusing on all theme drives which are experience led.
Right.
So be it seen unseen India. I mean, there is a lot of focus now on seen unseen India. I mean, India itself. I mean, people. I mean,
We know only popular places.
we know
Yeah,
only
even
the
in
popular
popular
completely
places.
explored,
Yeah.
commercialized.
I mean,
No,
if
even
I-
in
if I
popular
talk of-
places, there are a lot of places which can be explored. Like
Right,
lot
some
of
aspects
things
of
to
it.
do. Yeah.
But most of you all, including Anshul, Mr. Hajila, and you, Mohit, you all are actually talking about being, open with the nature, being there, connecting with nature. What about people who don't want to travel in groups or a family? Are you able to also accommodate people who want to travel solo, and
Yeah.
then maybe they can connect and meet with like-minded travelers or other travelers?
Oh yes, something I mean that's we are doing at the moment. We are doing something like theme drives, that is meandering hill drives, and at the moment the focus is Leh and Ladakh. I mean, starting June once the passes open, till up to September. I mean, it's the best time for travelers to explore.
Right.
And to be honest, the entire spread of Leh and Ladakh, it needs no introduction.
True.
It's an absolute sellout destination on its own.
Especially after movies like Three
Especially
Idiots.
Three Idiots and Jab Tak Hai
Jab
Jaan.
Tak Hai Jaan.
So we are specializing in on customized drives and tours, and we are facilitating it with the best of the camping opportunities, some of the fine hotels across the category. And it's about, again, I mean, it could be an option that one could explore, be it fly in, fly out if you are really constrained on time, or it could be a drive in, drive out. Although most of the people, once they want to travel up to Leh and Ladakh, ideally about 8 to 10 days is a must once you're doing a drive in, drive out itinerary.
Or you can also cycle up there, like I did. So you are more like a Ladakhi. When you reach up there, you're gaining the height slowly.
Yes.
So
and you're
because
acclimatizing
you're
with their-
acclimatizing with it. So cycling is also a good option for people who really want to venture out. And there are a lot of cycling groups which are going out. We also organize. And
Bikers also, a
our
lot of bikers.
focus is to get like-minded people along. So it's not generally a group of friends who want to go out together, because you and your friend might not get a holiday together.
Exactly.
So it's mostly in the nature of the things changing around us. There are more solo travelers who join you. And also your friends might not be like-minded travelers. You might want to do something.
Correct.
But they are
So
more...
you are getting a lot of requests
Re-
from
so-
solo
yeah,
travelers.
and we are facilitating that, helping them find like-minded people who might not be from their friend circle. And eventually you also connect to people who you are traveling with. They might become your lifelong friends. So
Correct.
that's another idea. Apart from connecting with the locals, connecting with the group of people you are traveling with is another thing.
Right.
I
I'll
think I would agree to what he said, and also look at icebreakers. I mean, if it's a heterogeneous mix group, then have ice breaking sessions,
Yeah.
and then they can connect
Correct. And it just makes that atmosphere even more
yeah,
jovial.
more. I mean, whether it's just a women's only drive. I mean, we
Correct.
do a drive called My Way Highway. It's a women only drive. So I mean, what restricts the women to just group together? And we would love to, integrate
Great.
plans like that.
Great, great. I'll also get Anshul here. One final point, Anshul. What would be the top three or the most favored destination weekend getaway for you if you were given a chance? Other than Lansdowne, we believe your plans will be postponed. But other than Lansdowne, what will be your most favorite one that you have already explored or something that you want to?
Around Delhi.
Yes, something you can travel from Delhi. Yes.
You can visit Parashar Lake. It's a few kilometer drive from Mandi, and it's a very like a very beautiful, serene kind of place where you can spend some time. You can trek around, and then there is obviously I said Madharamshala and McLeodganj, and then you can trek towards Valley of Flowers. That is a very beautiful place.
Right.
That
And
is the okay.
would this be the right? Would it be the right climate to go there? The right season?
Yeah, this is the perfect time.
Valley of Flowers is the perfect.
I'm not sure about. I'm not sure of. I think
I believe there's a network problem
Yeah.
with Anshul.
perfect time.
Right, right.
So Valley of Flowers, basically when the monsoons hit, it becomes very difficult to go there because the flowers basically wipe out due to the monsoons.
Right.
But right now there's actually a group leaving on the 15th for the Valley of Flowers, and I've been there in October 2012.
Right.
So-
And your story is interesting because you have been an IIT and you've lived abroad and come and started this as a venture that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and also because you're passionate about travel. What have been your maybe your most memorable experience while you're arranging these travel tours for friends or for people you got to know? What has been the most striking memory that you have?
Exploring the places myself, because that's the idea, because before we organize any trip to any place, we go out and explore those places ourselves. And then when I go, sometimes I also went back with the people who were actually going there. So it's not like if you visit the same place twice or thrice or maybe
It becomes repetitive. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, because experiences change every time. Like the pictures you saw of Kasol with the houses, with the snow on the houses, is from March this year.
Right.
And again I'll be going there in June. So the landscape would change drastically. Of course, there will be no snow right now, but I'm sure the experience would again be very different.
And any kind of interaction with locals, where a funny experience that you'd like to share with our viewers, something that comes, something that totally comes to mind. I'll just get Mr. Hajila at this point. In terms of the trade aspects, the last couple of years I've seen a lot of travel companies, a lot of weekend getaways being planned, women-only tours. You're saying there are only women-only tour operators now who cater to women travelers. What has been the change in requests by travelers over the years? What have you seen in your experience?
I think somewhere today the travelers are far more discerning. While India is largely dominated by budget travelers,
Yes.
yet at the same time where we are trying to make an impact or make people appreciate is that you need to count a perfect getaway, because at the end of the day it's your holiday that matters. And what we normally recommend is that if you just incrementally move a little higher on the budget, the kind of an experience that you have around the breathtaking properties, or even just try and beat the conventions around. I think it's senseless that you move from one Lajpat Nagar here to a Lajpat Nagar at 6,500 feet.
Right.
I think it's all about how if you just look at properties around the main commercial hub. So hill stations end up being more commercial hubs.
Right.
So it's more about, if you look at small detours 40-50 kilometers around the place, I think that's where you've got stunning landscape, and not only are you able to connect much better, you are able to also rejuvenate.
Right.
And
And
ideally-
take back,
and
different
take
memories.
back more memories,
Right.
and always try and keep a day spare. A single day goes up in just traveling, moving uphill.
Right,
and one day getting back downhill.
And what has been your most favorite personally when you go on tours or with your family, most striking weekend getaway that you know would want to go again and again?
I have been doing Utirthan for last 2 to 3 years,
Okay.
and I think it's all about the connect, the hospitality, the people, the experience, and you'll be surprised, Prachi, that it's highly cost effective.
Great. Any lasting memory, any interaction with a local that completely strikes out, or with a traveler who made a completely out of the book request from you?
So we were traveling on bicycles in Kashmir, and we crossed the Simtan Pass, and suddenly it became very, very cloudy. It became so foggy that I couldn't see my hand. And we suddenly we had tea up there at Simtan Top. There's this guy who served us tea. He came running down to his hut, and he basically made us have tea and stay there for the night. It was a small roadside shed, I would call it, not even a hut.
Okay.
Because it was so foggy. That was like a lifesaver for us. And that time we weren't even carrying sleeping bags and all, because it was alpine style, first biking trip. So we just had a kind of 20-liter bag with our one change of clothes and basic support maintenance kit for the cycle.
Okay.
With that experience, having food over there, he made dinner for us.
Right.
That was a really lasting memory, and he still calls me, and we share that experience.
Right.
I think it's that God lies in details. So I
Very
think if people can get
Right.
into
I'll
that.
just get one final comment from Anshul before we wrap up this show. Anshul, one lasting memory you've had from any of your holidays in the last few years. One interesting experience or anecdote if you'd want to share.
I was hiking in Gokarna, and I lost my way. It was a 13-kilometer long trek, and I had no idea where I have to go. And I was really scared because it was evening, and there was fear of wild animals. And the locals, they were like, they didn't know Hindi, they didn't know English. So I was like, I was on my own. But there were people who helped me. There was this guy who gave, after walking for almost 5 to 6 kilometers, he gave me a lift on his bike, and he dropped me at a road, and then he said that continue walking from here. So that was a really memorable experience. Because
Right.
it was like, I'm getting lost and everything.
But you would still go back there again, better prepared maybe.
Yeah. I'm going there.
Great. On that note, I'll very quickly read out some very interesting comments on Twitter. You can also join in and tell us your most favorite weekend getaways and places you've had some interesting, long-lasting memories and places you've connected with. We have Mansi saying blue skies and mountains. I recently traveled to Lansdowne. It was brilliant. India Post Live should just do an episode on Lansdowne. So we'll try and take that point in. We have Pooja saying, I feel like quitting my job and going on a long trip. Very interesting comments coming in here. We also have Mitali saying, favorite destinations. I'm watching Podar Mohit and Mr. Mohit Hajela talk about their favorite destinations as weekend getaways. So write in your comments and feedback and take forward this conversation. With your participation, we can make it a very lively discussion on our Twitter handle @India Post Live, and you have two interesting travel specialists and also Anshul ready to take in your comments and guide you through what could be possibly a memorable journey, and your weekends could become much better to just run away from Delhi's scorching heat. Thank you so much to all our guests, Mr. Harjela and Mr. Mohit Poddar, also Anshul, for joining us on the conversation at India Post Live. Write into us your top 3 weekend getaways, and possibly we can plan another such interesting conversation for you. Stay tuned to for more discussions on indiapostlive.com. Goodbye.